February 14th, 2018, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, a day this country will never forget. This morning, stories of survival. Two victims of high school shootings, Columbine, and 19 years later, Stoneman Douglas. The Balancing Act starts right now. This morning, I'm joined by three very special guests who unfortunately share a common story that has affected our nation as a whole. Crystal Miller was a student at Columbine High School on April 20th, 1999, when her world changed. 12 students and one teacher were killed. On February 14th this year, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz walked into Stoneman Douglas High School, allegedly killing 17. Carson Campbell was in class that day, and he and his father, Doug Campbell, are here to share their story. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Carson, I want to start with you. Where were you when it all happened?
I was actually right next to the freshman building where the shooter was, and there was one fire alarm that went off in the morning, and then we had a second one, so we were all kind of confused like to why we had two fire alarms in one day.
And you came out of the class?
Yeah, we came out of the classroom, and we heard gunshots, and I saw golf carts like flying over to where it happened, and
what did you do?
Where it was, we ran back in the classroom and went in the closet, and we just kept hearing gunshots, and like we thought it was still a drill. We didn't know because we've originally practiced like shooting drills for that kind of stuff to happen.
And when you realized it wasn't a drill and it was the real thing, what went through your mind?
I was in shock. Like I didn't know. Me and all the kids in the closet didn't know like how to react, and we was just quiet and emotional, and there was kids crying in the closet, and it was hot, so it was like we didn't know.
Doug, let me bring you in. As a parent, I have two girls. You know, your son is enduring this. What did you do?
I was actually in the office and
Working.
My desk. Good friend of mine actually came in that day. First thing he said when he walked in the office, he said, "You know, does your son go to Stoneman Douglas?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I think there's a shooting there." And I just don't know if I heard that.
You didn't process it?
It didn't. No, I didn't process it, and I just.
Were you able to communicate with him?
So I wasn't. I turned on the TV right away in my office, and then it became, at that point, it became something that was really happening.
Crystal, sounds familiar, doesn't it? You went through the same thing.
Yes, almost 19 years to date. April 20th, 1999. I was Carson's age. I was 16 years old. And that particular day, I had gone to the library at Columbine High School. And of course, if you recall the events of Columbine, you will remember that the library was the scene of the most intense violence that day. And we heard chaos in and around the school, and a teacher came running through the doors saying, there's guys with guns and bombs. They're shooting students, hide under your table. And had no idea. We thought it was a joke. We thought it was some sort of prank that was happening. And a few moments later, the two gunmen entered, and they, for 7.5 minutes, began their rampage. Those 7.5 minutes felt like an eternity, as they were ending the lives of my classmates, friends, because of the way that they looked, the color of their skin, if they were overweight. And after a few moments, they had come towards our table, and they pushed a chair in underneath of the table, and I felt it hit my arm, and I knew that they were standing right above me, and it was kind of braced for death, wondering what it would feel like when I got shot, wondering if I would die quickly, suffer slowly. And at that moment, they began talking about how they ran out of ammunition. They had to go reload their guns. But they made it clear that they were coming back to kill those of us who were still alive. And so as they left, we got up and escaped the school, the library and the school, before they returned.
How have you changed that tragedy into something where you've been able to help so many students, parents? I mean, you've been such an inspiration since. Talk to me about that.
At 16, it felt like my life was over. So I could have, and who would have blamed me for giving up at that point? Or I could choose to live and live despite everything that had happened to me. And I chose to live, and I didn't exactly know how to do that, but I had a community of people very similar to Parkland, you know, who came around us. I had an amazing family, and I knew that I needed to use my story so that we didn't see these things happen again.
And Carson, you've had an amazing support system too.
Yes.
Friends, tell me about how you guys are holding up and moving forward together.
Well, after it happened, it's kind of like everyone at my school, even the ones that like we lost, are like brothers and sisters to me now, and it's like it brought us all closer together. All the people that at my school I wasn't friends with before, maybe now like I'm really close with. Even though it's sad, it brings us all together, and it's just a great thing.
Doug, have you seen that support where Carson has been able to deal with this, move forward,
Yeah.
and you as a father as well, and your wife?
Yeah, it's really been amazing. We have just a good community of friends, and now the amount of people that are involved in the vigils, you know, just the love and support that we've seen from this community has been amazing, and you know, we're really grateful for that because it's needed this time.
What advice would you give to the community of Parkland today, Crystal?
You know, I think it's important to give the community permission to grieve. As a culture, we do not mourn and grieve very well. And I think exactly even what Carson and Doug are talking about, we are stronger together than we are apart. Yeah. And we need each other. And Carson, the same thing happened at our school where we were able to come together, and we are still linked arm in arm. 19 years later, we are still standing together, but now I believe that great strength and healing comes among those of us who have walked through this. And I hope that I stand as a reminder that this is not the end, that you will get through this, that you can come out on the other side, that there is hope.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Doug, thank you so much for your story. And Carson, thank you so much for being here today. When we come back, we're going to have a very special story with one woman who knew Nicholas Cruz. Stay tuned.